Earlier in the week, I did a video giving you an overview of the latest announcements coming from Amazon with the Alexa Plus platform that is coming to the US later this year. What I want to do in this video is break it down that if you're a brand or a company or a business that wants to integrate with this, how it's going to be such a big deal. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we are looking at how brands can begin to think about integrating with the platform Alexa Plus. This has got to be one of the biggest opportunities for voice technology to have a whole revolution. In the early days of the Alexa platform, we began at Vixen Labs, now part of House 337, building what were called Alexa skills. These were different types of apps that acted much more like little mini apps that lived within inside of your device. Things like McDonald's, so you could find out where the nearest restaurant was. Things like the Dyson Care app, where you could go in and manage your Dyson vacuum cleaners. And we built things like for quizzes and entertainment companies and all sorts of stuff like that. The problem with this framework, very functional as it is that from time to time it became difficult for users to really remember all of the different names of the apps. It's kind of like giving commands to the terminal on your computer. We moved away from that a long time ago and we're given the benefit of the desktop application to be able to navigate through these. Now with the new Alexa AI that's coming, we're going to have a completely different way of building for the Alexa platform, which means that we can bring much more functionality and much more natural conversation to interacting with Alexa. The way that they're talking about it is through this new SDK, which is software development kit. And it's going to allow you to do 3 different kinds of interactions with Alexa. The AI action, which is basically going to bring capabilities of your APIs, your app, to the Alexa framework. There's going to be a web action, which is going to allow you to actually do that also on the web, because they're releasing a new alexa.com version of the app at some point in the near future as well. And you're also going to be able to bring entire new agents to come and live within inside the Alexa ecosystem that Alexa will be able to hand off to this multi-agent SDK, which I think is really fascinating. They gave a bunch of demo examples earlier in the week when they announced this, including the likes of Uber, Thumbtack, Ticketmaster. You can see them all here. And some of these I think are really interesting. Particularly this one from Uber shows kind of how this works, which is that by taking the Uber action, essentially of booking a car, they've been able to integrate it directly in using your existing account, checking the two together, and essentially doing things like here, they're showing the open table reservation thing. You can actually go and book an experience all the way through because the Alexa AI works out what to send to the open table AI. They talk to each other, they connect back together. I mean, this use case of like you booking an Uber for somebody else who's arriving at an airport, I think is completely ludicrous. But yeah, the idea is a good one here. You can book an Uber probably for yourself more likely. And I think this will be really interesting when you can do this on the web because it's much quicker than going through the Uber interface to do it. So we're going to see the ability for this new type of AI to kind of come and live inside of the Alexa ecosystem. Well, why is this so big for brands? Let's take a typical brand in the UK here, like for example, Tesco. Tesco, have loads of different things that you can do on their app, from checking things like your club card points to finding out recipes and obviously shopping. But to bring all of this functionality to the old way of doing Alexa building using the Skill Builder skill kit would have meant building essentially all these different functions as turn-by-turn conversations. It just would have been way too complicated. Now, if you've got an API that can serve up, for example, all of the offers or serve up all of the products that are available or your club card balance, that type of thing could be put into an AI that the route to it would be through Alexa. So I might be able to ask Alexa things like, what's my club card balance, or reorder me my last week's shop. And without having to do all of that complicated conversation design, we should be able to connect these things together. Now, it's obviously early days for the AI coming from Amazon. I think there's a long way we're going to have to go. But the potential that this could mean for all of us who are building experiences for brands out there, we could be able to start connecting them to what is essentially the biggest device ecosystem outside of the iPhone when it comes to AI. No one has got more AI connected devices in the world than Amazon does in the form of our Alexa devices. And we know from our own research, the AI Impact Report, that millions of people are using these devices multiple times a day. In some times, they're using them absolutely every day across the UK and the US in particular as big households for AI. So the fact that we might be able to bring all of those different brands through the Alexa Plus ecosystem with their AI SDK, I think is really interesting. Hope you found this helpful. If you are interested in building experiences with Alexa, particularly for the new Alexa Plus platform in the US as it begins to roll out this year, hit me up in the comments or drop me a message over on LinkedIn, and I look forward to talking to you in the next one.